أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Last night we covered different aspects of the fasting of the holy month of Ramadan, and tonight we will look at it from a different angle. If you remember yesterday, we said that the purpose of the fasting is to reach the state of piety. When you reach a state of piety, that will give you an immunity, in confronting the temptations, confronting the hardships. It will build on your willpower and self-determination. This is piety. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would want out of fasting during this holy month is to reach this state. Therefore, my topic will be about how to make our willpower stronger to the point that we can resist the temptation. You see, brothers and sisters, insan, the human being, is considered to be one of the weakest creatures of God. Look at this whole universe. The constellations, the stars, the solar system, even on this planet. The human being physically is considered one of the weakest animals. Even the bird can manage to survive more than the human being if we had not had the rationality and our intelligence in thinking to utilize others for our own. But our physical status is very weak. We are brought up to this world without our consent. No one had ever asked us when we were born, in which family you want to be born, or which culture you want to be born, or whether you want to be a male or female, or our height, our color, our many things that pertain to our individual characteristics. We had no choice on choosing them. We are completely living within the dominance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has created this universe, who has made everything, and He has determined much of our destiny. Even when we leave this world, have you ever seen a person dying? They go and ask him, tell him, is it based on your own will? When we leave also, we come to this world against our will. When we leave, also we leave against our will. We never have a choosing. It is the choice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the ultimate wisdom. He is the wise, He is the beneficent, He is the merciful, who has created this universe and has brought us to existence for a very purposeful reason, for a very good reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through our creation, wants one thing from us, and that is to show our full subordination and obedience to Him. Not only in deeds, even in thoughts, in ideology, and everything. All He wants is a single thing, is that we become obedient and submissive to His will and order. In a divine hadith, He says that, Ya ibadi, ma khalaqtukum li asta'nisa bikum. I did not create you so I can have, amusement or enjoy socializing with you. ما خلقتكم لأستأنس بكم من وحشة ولا لأستكثر بكم من قلة فأنا الغني الحميد. I did not create you because I was a single one and I wanted a bunch of, buddies to be my social buddies and social friends. No. وإنما خلقتكم لتعبدوني. I created you for one thing, and that is worship. So you would worship me. Now, why do we have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? God has created the hereafter. when He created the hereafter, He also created the ibadat, the worships, the prayers, the fastings, multiple things that, every religious sect go through. Those worships and ibadat are considered the means and the vehicle by which we live and succeed in the hereafter. We do not have much clue about what will happen to us in the hereafter. We are basically oblivious about the hereafter. We don't know how does it run. How does it look like? Who are the angels? Who are the jinns? Where is the arsh? And the rest of those things. Those are all unknown to us. But we know one thing, that our prayers, our good things that we do, those will become the means of our survival and our success in the hereafter. It is just like a fetus. A fetus in the womb of his mother, he develops his organs. He will start to have hands and eyes and legs and different organs in the body. Now, in the womb of his mother, he doesn't need any of them. He's completely oblivious of why he has a hand or why he has a leg. Why would he have a heart and lung? There is no need for any of those. Would he go and take his eyes out because he doesn't need them? The reason is that those have been created, so those becomes a means of living in this life that he has been born to. The same thing with us, brothers and sisters. Our a'mal, our deed, when we do the prayers, when we do the fasting, when we do our religious practices, these practices will become the means, the vehicle by which we will live and succeed in the hereafter. Take a child who goes to school, first grader, second grader. Do they like to go to school? In fact, they think that their parents hate them. That's why they torture them by sending them to school, right? Who would like to get up in the early morning and go to school? So boring. And sometimes they quarrel and fight with their parents not to go to school. But the parents know for sure the benefit of sending their kids to the school. When he grows up and becomes adult, at that time he recognizes what good things his parents did to him when they sent him to school. The same thing, brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the worship, has created the religious practices for a very, very good reason. Otherwise, Allah Himself doesn't want any of our prayers. God doesn't care whether we pray or we do not pray, whether we become faithful or not faithful. For Him would not change anything. In the ayah says, وَإِن تَكْفُرُوا أَنْتُمْ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. Not only you and the entire humanity become blasphemous and reject the message, God is needless of you. He doesn't need you. What He has done, even the worship that He has mandated upon us to worship Him, is for our own benefit. Does not benefit Him anything. He knows what is good for us and what is bad for us. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْمُفْسِدَ مِنَ الْمُصْلِحِ. God knows what is the good thing for us, what is the bad thing. And here is the road. He has shown us the good way. And the good way is to show our total obedience and slavehood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam has a very beautiful, elegant saying. He says, إلهي كفاني عزا أن أكون لك عبدا وكفاني فخرا أن تكون لي ربا أنت كما أحب فاجعلني كما تحب. I am honored to be your slave. I am full of pride that you are my Lord. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He made the worships, the ahkam, and the religious practices, He made them for a very good reason. The ayah says at the beginning, it says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ I'm not going to be talking about yesterday's topic. This is a new topic. Just pay attention. It says that كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامِ. You see, we have two different words. We have صوم and we have صيام. God did not say كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصَّوْمِ. He said كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامِ. What is the difference between those? You see, both of them meaning abstinence from eating, drinking, and the rest of the factors that nullify the fasting. But Sawm by itself, only the practice. The practice without intention. For example, you get up early morning and you leave your home. You go somewhere that there is no food, no drink. You stay for 10 hours without drinking and eating. Basically, you have a practice Sawm. You just abstain from eating and drinking. But when it comes to Siyam, Siyam is a spiritual state, meaning with intention. And your intention is a closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that time we call it Siyam. You see the same thing with Ghusl and Ghusl. Ghusl and Ghusl both meaning washing. You wash your hand, you wash your body, you take a shower, you say Ghusl. But when you take the specific washing with your intention, and that is seeking nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Ghusl al-Janaba, then it becomes a spiritual thing. It becomes a worship with intention. Therefore it's called Ghusl, not called Ghusl. One man came to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, or Imam al-Baqir, and told him, Ya Rasulullah, which one is dirtier, urine or semen? Many. The Imam told him, of course, urine is dirtier. He said, then why? The urine, for the urine, we don't have to do the ghusl, but for many, we have to do ghusl. What's the difference? Here is the Imam. Look at the answer. The Imam said, when the many excretes, the entire body becomes junub. It's not only due to the excretion of many, it's the entire body. Therefore, you need to wash the entire body with the intention. Then he says like this, and this is what caught my attention, brothers and sisters. He said, like a sneezing. When someone sneezes, the sneeze comes from the mouth. But today, medically, it has been proven that the entire body sneezes with the mouth. It's not only the mouth that is sneezing. You see, sneezing is the convulsion of air when you expel the air through your mouth and nose. This simple thing. But look at the mechanical, look at the physiological work. You see that the entire body does this. When a tiny little particle gets into the nostrils and irritates the mucus in the nose, that mucus secretes histamine. Histamine irritates the nerve cells in the nose. The nerve cells send message to the brain. The brain gives message to entire muscles in the upper body. From the face, to the throat, to chest, to abdomen, all will eventually expel the air at one point. That's why sneezing is sign of health. Meaning that you're healthy. Why? Because your entire body is reacting, is alert and reacting. Therefore, in the tradition comes when someone sneezes, the first thing he does is, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Thank Allah for giving this blessing, that his entire body is still working and reacting and being stimulated and alert and functioning. Therefore, you need to say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Or those who hear him sneeze, what do they say? Say, bless you, Yarhamkumullah, or Tasmeet. Says, Yarhamkallah. This is a sign of well-being, and there is a narration. You like to check it? Go ahead and check it. It says that whoever sneezes, he will be immune from death for 3 days. For the 3 days, he will be immune from natural death, because the body is functioning well. There is no problem with that. So sneezing makes the entire body react. The same thing with janaba and ghusl. It's also for the entire body. And ghusl has to be done with intention in order to be considered cleansed and purified. The same thing with fasting. Those who practice fasting, with the intention, then you will see the benefit of that. You see, sometimes, as I have said, you leave out of your home for a while, for a few hours without eating and drinking. But you never become spiritually alert like the way that you are during the month of Ramadan. Why? Because in that state, it was done, without your intention, only practice. You did not intend to enter the state of fasting. But during the Ramadan, you become spiritually ready for reception of God's mercy. At that time, you will see the effect of the fasting. As I said, brothers and sisters, that fasting brings you closer to Allah by being in the state of taqwa, which helps self-determination. A few words about self-determination and willpower after your big and loud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
There is no one on the face of this planet, any human, who does not have dreams and desires. Every one of us should have some sort of dreams and desires. What makes those dreams and desires come true and materialize, or does not come true and materialize, is one thing, and that is determination. The willpower. If you decide, that thing, that dream becomes materialized. It becomes true, your dream comes true. But if you do not have a will, if you do not choose to go through the path and get to your dream, that dream stays as a dream. And we call it fantasy. What is a fantasy? Fantasy is something that is in my mind. I always think about it, but it never happens. Why? Because I don't even take a single step to make that happen. Only in my imagination. Therefore, we call it fantasy. Those who have reached their desires, and this is my talk today, brothers and sisters, especially for the youth. Please pay attention to this. This is not for the old, old men and old ladies. They don't have any dreams, Maybe they do, I don't know. They need to be blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to see their grandchildren. Yes, that also would happen. Anyway, but basically this talk is for the youth. Many of us think that those who have reached their desires has happened for them because there were red carpets thrown for them. And they had a very rosy state. The fact is not like this, brothers and sisters. If you go and search, you see that they have earned it through hard work, through diligent work, through patience and being consistent and persistent, then they reach that state. You see, there is an American president who has said this one. I forgot his name, but he has said this one. He says in one statement, he says that I am a true believer of luck. I believe in luck. I believe in metaphysical thing that all of a sudden I become lucky. But I find it, the harder I work, the luckier I become. Basically, when I work harder, then I will see luck in front of me. And God has seconded this word. He says, Ya ayyuhal insan, innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqih. The harder you work, the more you will see it in front of you. Whatever you do, you will see it in front of your eyes. إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ. If you knock on the doors will be open. By sitting back, relying, sitting in the corner of your home, raising the hand and saying, أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ. By أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ, you do not solve anything alone. Yes, أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ is very strong, powerful tool when it is associated with hard work. When you really work, at that time you will see the benefits of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls this willpower, this determination, in the Holy Quran, calls it azima. Azim. You've heard of ulul azm? What is ulul azm? Ulul Azm are those who have very strong self-determination and strong willpower. They are called Ulul Azm. They have iron heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls upon His Prophet, says, وَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. Not all the prophets have this type of feature. Some of them did not have. Adam alayhi salam did not have that feature. God in the Holy Quran says, when Adam did not follow the order completely, says, وَلَقَدْ عَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ. We have taught him, we took a promise from him, وَلَقَدْ عَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ مِنْ قَبْلِ فَنَسِيَ وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا. He was not out of the Ulul Azm. He did not have that strong will, strong sense of determination. While other prophets, like our Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, his determination was stronger than the mountains. All of you remember the famous saying when the pagans of Mecca came to Abu Talib, his uncle, alayhi salam, and told him, Ya Abu Talib, tell your nephew, if you want to be a crown, we will make him a crown. If you want to be rich, we will give him money. If he would like to get married with our beautiful daughters, we will marry him, our beautiful daughters, but ask him to stop from this message. What was the answer? He said, Ya Am, Wallahi la wada'u ash-shamsa fi yamini, wal-qamara fi shimali, ala an atruka hadha al-amr, ma tarakta. If they gave me the entire universe, the solar system is in my disposal, would I leave this one? No, I would not leave this one. I would not give anything. Therefore, he would withstand any hardship, any difficulty. Why? Because Allah in the Holy Quran says, وَاصْبِرْ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَكَ إِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمٍ أُمُورٍ. Those will build your characters. God can send victory at any time to His believers. But that has a cost. The cost is that you build yourself. You build your characters. When you build your characters, at that time you will see that God will bring victory at your hand. Bring success to yourself. Without hard work, nothing will happen. Now, the psychologists divide self-determination and willpower into many categories. I have chosen a few of them just to disclose some of them. One category is called the devoid willpower. Basically, there is no willpower. You see those people who go with the flow? Today this way, next day this way. One man starts and tells them something, they change their mind. Then another person comes, talks to them, they change their mind again. Those show that they don't have self-determination. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, our Muslim Ummah have been inflicted with this kind of thing. We always want others to solve our problems. Others do our homework. I have been a teacher. In the classroom, I give assignment. Next day, I see the entire class have exactly same assignment. Why? Because a single person has written the homework for everyone. The rest have given their homework to him and collected. He becomes rich. I am the poor guy. I teach. He becomes rich. Out of this one. Why? Because of our mentality, unfortunately. We always rely on others. From our own, we don't have any self-determination. The other kind is the wobbling one. Today you make a decision, you go one step forward, but tomorrow you change your mind. You get 2 steps backward. Again, this one is detrimental. This one is not too good. On the extreme, we have the reckless and erratic will determination. Willpower or self-determination. You've seen those young people when they get enthusiastic, without rationality they do things. Out of absent-mindedness they commit themselves to something. Why? Because they got agitated without thinking. They have heard, revolution is good, go to the street, fight, okay. They go to the street and fight, but they never think what will happen later. Maybe there is an opportunist who will come and take the rest of, what they have achieved. They will come and, you see, there is a famous saying by one of the philosophers. I even forgot his name. Maybe one of you can help me. He said that, look at any revolution. You see, the intelligent, the wise, they design the revolution. The crazy, the naive, they carry out the revolution. And the opportunists take over the revolution. And that more or less in every revolution. Why? Because of the erratic behavior that some of us do. The correct one, the one that is involved with ambition, and the right one is the one that you will think about, that you pay attention and read the entire story. You see the result ahead of time, therefore you don't become surprised. That is the one that you need to do. You formulate your decision first. Think about it. If I take this step, then tomorrow what will happen to me? I would like to become engineer. Okay, great. But did I work myself for it? When I go to the school and they give me a textbook this size and tell me this is calculus, you need to study it, then would I have some time, 6 hours per day to sit at home and study? Or no? I need to think about the entire road, so I don't become surprised later on. Those are the kinds of self-determinations that have been discussed. Now, what are the factors? What makes them strong or weak? I will, again, very briefly list them. The psychologists say number one is heredity. You inherit this type of, attributes. The attributes are not only physical. We don't acquire the physical attributes from our parents. Also, they're emotional, they're psychological, their behavioral also will be contained. Therefore, you see that the child reacts like his parents, talks like his parents, takes care of himself like his relatives. Why? Because those genes have transferred the behavior. Sometimes it is within heredity. You see someone who really has the will-determination, willpower and determination, is inherited this one. We all know the famous story when Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam told his brother Aqil, told him, Ya Aqil, go and propose for a lady for me. وَلَدَتْهَا الْفُحُولَةُ مِنَ الْعَرَبِ. I want a lady to be so strong, so I will end up having a strong boy. That time he went and proposed for al-Baneen alayhi salam. Why? Because of the heredity. Heredity will help, strongly. The other one is upbringing within the family, parenting. The parents teach their children whether they will have determination, can rely on themselves, or no. In Arabic we call them bezar chiklet. You know bezar chiklet? Bezar chiklet meaning once he says something, they give him a chocolate. Hey, okay, honey, open your mouth, honey. No, you don't need to get in the sun. Sometimes I have to go to my work. My mom tells me, where do you go? It's through fasting. How do you go to school, for example? How do you teach? Still feeling the agony for their children. I know it is out of mercy, out of passion. But this sort of behavior will always keep the children, in their cage. They never get outside of the cage to explore the world. Don't associate with this boy. Don't go out. No, don't do this one. This is too dangerous. This is too bad. This type of thing will make the children hesitant to commit themselves to something. Therefore, the parents, their role, and I've seen many of the parents, they teach their children. They immunize their children while they are in relatively young age. You see, every parent would like their children to have a very decent life, a faithful life full of faith and respect. I understand, all of us do, but the approach may differ. The parents have to immunize them to make this obstacle, for example, if they are outside and see a terrible scene, themselves turn their face away. Not by, for example, telling them not to go to movie theater, not to go to this place, not to do this thing, or not to watch movie, not to watch TV. Those things, I don't say those are bad, but better than this is when you teach the child that even when sometimes you're not by him, you leave him out, you go out to work, then what happens to the children by themselves? You need to teach them that this should be within their own discipline, own behavior, that they don't do anything, wrong. The same thing with the willpower and determination. If the parents teach their children to be brave, daring, take the initiative, go and give a speech at early age, for example, go to camps, do different types of activities like adults. At that time, you see that person is self-reliant. You start to think, you start to develop himself and build his own character. And the more you practice, the more the parents make their children practice, the better the outcome will be. You see, I give this example. You've seen those weightlifters who lift the weights? When they go into contests, for example, in the Olympics, how many minutes will take they lift this? Maybe not more than 2 or 3 minutes. But how many hours they have to practice? Lifelong. Hundreds of hours they practice. For what? For those 2 minutes. Sometimes, the brothers and sisters, the initiative needs to be taken within 1 minute. You prepare the children for that important minute that you may lose, and if you lose, you see the cost will be so heavy. The third one, brothers and sisters, is self-training. Maybe the parents don't teach the person. He himself can teach himself. He can lower the expectations, increases his capacity for challenges, and rely on his ability, and work hard. You see, brothers and sisters, no one likes tiredness, but there's a beauty in tiredness. Is that after tiredness, when you sleep, you enjoy the sleeping. You see, if we were not getting hungry, if it were not for being hungry, how would we enjoy the food? We had to get hungry, starve, in order to enjoy the food. When we get started and we start to become innovative and cook, come up with different types of food. The same thing, getting tired, working hard. Nobody likes to work hard for no reason. But look at the result afterward. The result, which is your achievement. At that time when you achieve, you see that all your tiredness, all your difficulty have paid off. And most important factor, brothers and sisters, is reliance and dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawakkul, we have a term in the Quran, says tawakkul. Rely on God, do your business, work hard, sit down, do your plan, think about everything, but don't forget to rely on God, because ourselves consider nothing. Unfortunately, many of us, when they reach a state, they think that it is us. MashaAllah. It is my brain, my intelligence, my muscles who have brought me to this position. But God forbid he fails, he blames who? Others. Others, have been blamed for my own misfortunes. But once I achieve something, it is me. The student always say, I got A. But when he gets F, what does he say? He says, the teacher, the bloody teacher gave me F. That tells you that you need to rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you do things, at the same time, have your complete dependence on God. And here comes the role of worship and fasting. When you do the fasting, with your spiritual intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uplifts your status. It brings you close to Him. At that time, you see things happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells His Prophet, peace be upon him, tells him, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. You became victorious in the battle. It was not you Rasulullah, nor your company. Those were not the ones who were the factor of your victory. It was God who was behind you. But why He made you victorious? Because you relied on Him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the wisdom, the ability, the energy to rely on Him in this holy month, to succeed with our fasting, with our worship, and with our repentance. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower us with His forgiveness. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك مجيب الدعوات، إنك قاضي الحاجات، إنك على كل شيء قدير. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله